Hey guys, Magnolia Root Productions here. Don't normally do things like this, at least I haven't in a while. Doing a kit review of the AMT 1/20th scale 93 GMC Sonoma. I've already started putting the kit together a good bit. I'm putting it together in as much parts as I can before I have to paint them. So the body itself is going to be painted white, and then pretty much everything else is going to be painted black. This is literally a back at the barracks kind of build, so there's not going to be a whole lot of stuff that's going to be super fancily painted. Pretty much anything that doesn't have to do with the drivetrain and the undercarriage is going to be black. Everything else is going to be white, and I do have a little bit of paint to detail paint some parts here and there, but other than that, it's pretty much just going to be a as few color as possible build. Moving to the kit, you get a lot of plastic. That's the body itself. It's actually a nice, fairly detailed body piece. And then this is so far the actual kit itself, the frame and everything upside down. That's dry enough to not fall off. I just glued some of these parts together. This is what it looks like right side up. It does turn. It does have movable parts. It's the gas tank and a few other parts. The kit runs about $30. Here's the mass instructions that they have on how to put everything together, paint it up. It's the actual front of it. There's a lot in this kit. Now, if you look at the box, it shows you all the different cool features: opening tailgate, roll bars, 2-wheel options, your brush guard, bug shield, fender flares, all that cool stuff. Comes with that engine. Now, with that being said, I am not building the engine like that, and I will explain why. I'm building it as a flathead with no extra shit on it, and there's a good reason for that. A lot of the engine parts, more so than what I would like, are these chrome pieces. What's the problem with chrome pieces? There's the pieces right there that I won't be using. Those are the ones that are for the Vortec, whatever the part is that sits up on the top, the freaking that gray stuff up on top. Yeah, those are not paintable blank plastic like everything else. They're chrome. This is a re-release. This is not an original AMT kit. This is a re-release. It's been re-released I think twice now. Been rebranded as several different things. This is the Baja version of the truck, but without all the Baja graphics and the extra parts. I have quite a few complaints about this kit, to be honest. For one, the bare chrome parts, they will not glue together. So you can, like, if you try to take any of these parts, any of these chrome parts at all, and you try to glue these to each other, they will not glue together at all. They just will not. If you can get them to glue together, good luck to you. Especially the parts that go to glue together for the motor, because that's what these parts are. And you have to literally glue that piece right there, to that little peg. But the problem is, unless like it falls off and it doesn't stay still. So no matter how much you glue it together, I've glued that piece 6 times now, and every single time it wobbles around so much while the glue is drying, even with instant super glue, it will not stay together no matter what. There was another piece somewhere. Oh yeah, the turbo. The turbo, I barely got it together. There's the turbo right there. I barely got it together because the parts had no tab on them to keep them together. There was no pin and hole. There was no tab. There was no anything. It was 2 completely flat pieces that you had to try to line up and stay together and not get glue all over your fingers. I actually tore off a good bit of skin on my fingers after they got glued together, trying to glue that stupid thing together. The wheels on the back side, they still have this plastic molded in the center hole. It's not supposed to be like that, because if you actually look, not only do you have chrome pieces for the wheels, but you've also got these wheel backings, which these are shitty. They have a lot of flash. That's another big thing for me that I have a problem with on this kit, is the amount of flash that this kit has. This kit has a lot of flashing on it. Flashing, if you don't already know, it's when the mold isn't clamped right, it's not sealed right, and around the parts there's that little gap, because most molds are 2-piece. You have your top, you have your bottom. The 2 pieces clamp together, and you shouldn't have any flashing. Flashing indicates a poor quality kit. Now a lot of times what will happen is you'll have a kit that doesn't close all the way. There's a little bit of a gap. And what that does is it allows that little bit of plastic to swing out, and you get flashing. So like right here, if this camera will focus, hello, focus. Okay, if you can see it, that little transparent little bit in the middle right there, around the edges, that's flashing. As you can see, it's not wanting to cooperate. Very thin. And because it's very thin, you know, it sleeps out through the smallest of cracks. What that means to me is that means whoever is producing this kit right now, it's an AMT kit, but I'm guessing it's somebody else's re-release. Whoever's making this kit is right now, whoever's doing the molding for it, probably a factory in China. They're not doing a very good job. The parts are not being sealed right. The molds are not being done right. And just to be honest, all around, I'm having a hard time putting it together. For example, the elliptical leaf springs. The leaf springs. Let's see if it'll focus on this. Yeah, it's focus. Okay. The leaf springs. Well, the problem I'm having is it's supposed to fit right there and be a smooth, snug fit. It's supposed to have that little gap right there below the right there. That little gap is supposed to be where that little tab fits in. Same with that one. Problem I'm having, the hole isn't deep enough and big enough, and the parts are too smooth. They're sliding right off of each other. It was a bitch to get that on there. Transfer case with the drive shaft. Drive shaft has a noticeable gap in it because that transfer case would not fit into the transmission. The hole was too small, and I didn't realize it till it was already fucking inserted. Too late now. And then it also just wouldn't physically reach. The drive shaft is too short by a noticeable bit. That's cut flush and sitting up against the transmission. The transfer case is literally been cut flush and sitting against the transmission the way it's supposed to. I literally cut all the mounting pins off, shoved it flush up against it, and glued it, and the drive shaft is still too short. Several pieces. One of them, air intake that goes on the turbo. It's just not going on there. It's not going to. The exhaust had to be modified to actually even fit and glue into its spots. The fuel tank continuously breaks out of its holes no matter how much glue you use. There's literally those two holes. It literally sits like that. There's literally nothing else. It just sits on this one bar. No other support anywhere else. What else? The front shock absorbers that are supposed to go behind the turning wheel radius, they are physically way too tall. You can, I don't know if you can see them on the box anywhere. I don't think you can. Anyway, it physically shows you right there, those front shock absorbers. They are physically too tall. The way they're designed to fit in there, they will not fit. And if they do fit, and if you modify them to fit, you can't turn the wheels on the kit. And the big thing for me on this kit was I wanted to be able to turn the fucking front wheels. It literally says on the box, turning front wheels. You know, I'm not usually one to be a stickler for, hey, this kit is a piece of crap. But I'm going to be honest, AMT, they could do a lot better on this kit. I bought the AMT bulldozer, the construction bulldozer, that HPI Model Guys Workshop, I think that's who it is. HPI Model Workshop. Yeah, anyway, look him up on YouTube. You could probably find him. Starts with HPI. He does kit reviews of this kind of stuff all the time. He did a review of the AMT bulldozer, and I got that same kit about the same time he released the review. And it's a completely different kit. The kit has no flash. The parts fit together almost perfectly. No problems whatsoever. This AMT kit, I don't know if they outsourced it to someone different this time to do the work, but the quality control on this kit is quite awful, to be honest. I'm literally having to omit a lot of engine parts and a lot of undertrain parts, undercarriage parts, parts that aren't even parts that you won't notice they're missing unless you actually open the hood. Because I'm not opening the hood on this model, I'm gluing it down. But so I'm not really even worried about painting up the engine, to be honest. But it's quite literally a very poor quality control on this kit. I had to omit a lot of parts. My favorite bitch right now is literally this piece that goes over the transfer case. It's literally not even glued to anything on the other side. It's just sitting on top of the frame, because that hole below it is where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to be a lot sharper. It's supposed to go right over. It is glued on this side, but it's literally supposed to drop almost straight down and go in that hole and hook under there and be glued down and then set down on here. Nope. I literally had to just glue it on top because the part is literally shaped the wrong way. And I did look and confirm the part number on the instructions, and it is the correct part. I honestly, it's an okay kit. There's really not a lot of kits out there of larger scale model small pickups. The kit, I will give it credit. It does come with smaller front wheel assemblies. I'm not exactly sure what those are for. The only thing I can think of is that it gives you the option of having either a stock truck with no lift, or is extra parts for some reason. I'm really not sure, because the parts themselves don't really fit anything specific, to be honest. I mean, like, they've got holes in the top. I don't really know what they'd be for, but they're still on the casting sprue. The wheels, like I said, I've got a gripe about the fact that the parts are literally still molded in the back, and they're not just a little bit of flash and they'll come off. Like, they're as thick as the actual tire. I'm gonna have to take a really sharp knife and cut those out, of which I don't have. I literally have a SOG Seal Pup tactical knife. Tactical my ass. And that's probably going to be the only way I'm going to be able to get that rubber out of there. Unless I can find an X-Acto knife, which I don't have. So, really, the only problem I have with this kit... Actually, let me rephrase that. This kit, it's cool. It's nifty. There's cool stuff about it. The fact that it's a small truck with a lift on it, that's something you really don't see in model kits these days. It is cool because it's like, hey, almost everyone has a friend from high school that has a jacked up, shitty little truck the size of a Ford Ranger. Because that's what this is. Cons, for one, it's 1/20th scale. Who else models 1/20th scale? I know there's 1/24th and 1/25th, but 1/20th is way out there. Way out there. There's just a lot wrong with this kit. Aside from the things that I've listed, I'm not even done. I've literally only been working on the undercarriage and the frame, which is usually the stuff that needs to be absolutely dead. No warping, no mismatched parts, no misplaced parts. It literally needs to fit perfectly, because if that frame gets bent by parts having to be glued together, or that frame comes out messed up, your whole car is going to look all twisted up. And for $30 for the kit itself, you know, I mean, I literally could pay $29.99 for a semi-truck kit that I know actually sits better than this, as the parts are not as crap. And it's made by the same company. Go figure. Bottom line, this is a good kit for someone who's looking to heavily modify the parts. And, like, this is a good kit for someone who's not going to build it stock the way the kit is supposed to be built. This is a good kit for someone who's literally going to take the parts, cut them, modify them, stretch them out, shorten them, and create something completely different. If you want to build this kit as is, the way the box shows, you are going to have to modify the kit heavily just to get it to even put together. And even then, you might have the patience to try to put together those horrible chrome parts. I don't. That's another thing that gets me, is chrome parts. Chrome just does not look good in model kits like this, especially that kind of chrome. It never does. It's always too bright. And the sad part is, on this kit, it literally doesn't even show chrome. It shows silver painted parts. And everything that's silver on this kit is actually chrome plated. So, I've got a lot of complaints with this kit. Bottom line, if you're looking for a base to start with, if you're looking for the physical body style of this truck, there is this kit. However, there are some other kits out there, such as a 1980s Toyota Hilux, which I was buying this kit to try to modify it to look Australian, because this is the same body style that and look of truck, especially this side, that you find in Australia all over the place, because they did import quite a few of those. The Toyota Hilux, the 1980 Toyota Hilux, which is a snap-together kit, is probably a lot more accurate, to be honest. And yes, it's a snap-tight kit, so there's far less detail parts and far less opportunity to detail anything. But it will still come out looking really good if you actually paint it. This kit, yes, there are a lot of parts, and yes, it's a more detailed kit, but the downfall of that, it's a very poorly designed kit. Unless you are looking for parts or you're looking for a base to start with for heavy modifications, I honestly would not really recommend getting this kit. I spent $30 on this kit at Hobby Lobby. You could probably find it cheaper elsewhere. You probably could not. I wouldn't spend my money on it again. Got it as a quick idea for something. Not really a great idea. Yeah, it's an okay kit if you want a challenge. It's not special, it's not great, and it's definitely not a super good quality kit. The flashing alone tells you that. That's all I've got, guys. I know it kind of seems like I'm just bashing this kit, but this is probably the worst model kit that I think I've ever tried to put together in terms of quality control. I don't know why, but AMT really dropped the ball on this one. Alright, guys, that's all I got for you today. I will see you all later.